Morning, Year 5. So we're carrying on with our decimals. Your arithmetic today is separate. So you hopefully have already seen that you've got your click test or your Schofield and Sims. Now you only need to spend 10 minutes on this. We have been spending longer on it because I've given you more and I've given you extra support with it and extra questions to do. But today it's just your 10 minutes like we would do in school. Okay, so after 10 minutes, whatever you've done, stop. If you've done your click test and you've got some time left, you can have a go at the Schofield and Sims test A. Okay, so let's have a look at today's lesson. We are comparing decimals again. Lesson 5. So the in focus says, which rope is the longest? So we've got 3 pictures of some ropes here. We've got one that's 0.3 meters, one that's 0.49 meters, and one that's 0.275 meters. Okay, so I'm going to be devil's advocate. If you don't know what that means, you can go and find out. Hannah, or I, thinks that the shortest rope is 0.3 meters because 3 is smaller than 49 and 275. Now, I know the question's asking which is the longest. We're just exploring at the moment. So I think the shortest rope is 0.3 meters because 3 is smaller than 49 and 275. So Hannah and I, this is what we think. Are we correct? Can you explain why? So this is another part of your in focus. So in your books, in your squared books, you can have a go at answering the in focus task and see if you can actually explain whether you think we're correct and why Hannah and I are correct in our thinking. Okay, so pause now and pop it down in your books. Right, okay, let's have a little look at this then. I've put, you won't be able to access this, but I will put this onto our tapestry again. So this is the website that you used yesterday, where you were thinking about moving Deans around. So it gives you the opportunity to click on those Dean and use them just to help you. So I'll save that website again onto Tapestry in case you want to use it today again. But all I've done today, rather than using the blocks, I've just got this is our 10th, this is our 100th, and this is our 1000th. So which block is worth the most? Which has the biggest value? Hopefully you're all saying to me, it is this one, because this is worth a 10th, which is 10 times more than this one, which is worth a 100th, which is 10 times more than this one, which is worth a 1000th. I wonder if you can work out the relationship between these two then. If this is 10 times smaller than that, and this is 10 times smaller than that, how much smaller is this one than this one? Hopefully you're saying it's 100 times smaller, because it is. 10 times 10 is 100, isn't it? So it's 100 times smaller than this one here. Okay, so we are going to think about using these, and I want you to, if you haven't already answered the question, well, both are questions, because obviously we've got the normal in focus and then we've got the question that I've asked you. You can have a go at using your Deans to try that. So pause the video if you need to. If not, if you've already answered, let's have a look at it. Okay, so I've shown you here, using our Deans blocks, what these actually represent. So 0.3 meters, that's 3/10. And we know that one of the square blocks, the big square blocks, is worth a 10th. So we have got 3/10 here. This one has got 4/10, so 4 of the big squares, and 9/100. So we've got 9 of the smaller blocks there, not the smallest, but these are hundreds. So 4/10 and 9/100. And then we've got 0.275 meters. So this time we've got 2/10, we've got 7/100, and we've actually also got thousandths. We've got 5 thousandths. That's what this one stands for. This is our tenths, our hundreds, our thousandths. Okay, I'm sure that you're getting used to thinking about those numbers now, because we've talked a lot about those. So from looking at this, we can see that actually we've just said that we know that the biggest one, the one that's worth the most, is this block here, the large square. And we can see from these numbers, look, that this one here has the most number of those large squares because it has the biggest value in the tenths. And that's what we're looking at. That's what we need to think about. If there's nothing in the whole numbers, in the ones, then we move to the next column to the right. And the next column is the tenths. and we are going to look to see which digit is the largest, 0.3, 0.4 and 0.2. And we know that 4 is the largest out of those 3 digits, 3, 4 and 2. So here we can see, even though this has got more digits, it doesn't mean it's worth more because it's not 275, it's 275. And we make a point of saying that when we read it, we don't read it as 0.275, we read it as 0.275, and that's really, really important. Okay, so hopefully you can see that. If you couldn't see that before, hopefully you can really see that this is the one that's got the most of the largest digit, the one that has the biggest value, okay? And then we can see that this has got 3 and this has only got 2 of those tenths, so this is the smallest. So Hannah and I were saying that we thought the shortest rope was 0.3 because 3 is smaller than 49 and 275. We're not correct, are we? No, we weren't correct. We know that the smallest is actually 0.275 because it's got the smallest digit in the tenths column, and that's the important column for us to think about today. So just to go on to our in focus, remember it's always really important that we think about writing the explanation, so we don't just answer it and move on. We've got to actually think about how would we compose that answer, and we always try to put some numbers into it as well to explain it. So here's my answer, and I hope you got something similar. So the question was, which rope is the longest? 0.3 meters, 0.49 meters, or 0.275 meters? And my answer that I put is the longest rope is 0.49 meters long. If you stop there, that's not okay. You've got to carry on. You've got to explain how you know. So I know this, that's a really good phrase for us to use. I know this because none of the numbers have a whole number. So this is what we talked about, because that would show us the largest number. That's the digit with the largest value, but there's nothing in any of those columns. So I have to move to the next digit, which is the tenths column, as this is the digit with the next highest value, okay? And in the number 0.49, there are 4 tenths, which is more than the tenths in either of the other 2 numbers. And then I've added this extra bit here. The order of the lengths of ropes is, and I've used my symbols, look, more than and less than, 0.25. I should put M there actually to make that really clear. So 0.25 meters, 0.3 meters, and 0.49 meters. I've just realised that that's actually 275, so I'll pop that in. But it doesn't change things because remember, we're still looking at this column here. All right, so there's an example answer, and hopefully you got something similar. Right, okay. Quick question for you then, another question to think about. Will a number with a 2 in the tenths column always be smaller than a number with a 3 in the tenths column? Explore. Pause the video, go and explore, show us what you come up with on Tapestry, okay? Right, your guided practice today is really tiny. You've just got 2 questions to answer. And I think that you're all going to blow me away by getting that done straight away. So on page 19, you've got those 2 sets of numbers that you've got to order from smallest to greatest. So we call that, I wonder if you can tell me whether that's ascending or descending order. Smallest to greatest, it's getting higher, it's going up, so it's ascending order. Okay, so you're placing them, you're positioning them, arranging them in ascending order. Okay, so that's all you've got for guided practice. Oh, don't know why that snuck in there. Get rid of that one. And then your worksheets on pages 9 and 10. So all you've got to do here is you're going to say 0.6 is equal to 1, how many thousandths? Now that's 0.6, so that's 6 tenths. So we're going to say, right, if I need this to be hundreds, what have I done to my 10 to make it 100? Now, if you remember at the beginning, we said that thousandths are 100 times bigger than tenths. So I have to times it by 100. So if I'm going from tenths to thousandths, I need to times by 100. And so I'm going to need to do the same on the top. This is worth 6 tenths. So I need to do 6 times 100, and that's what will be in here. So the first one there will be 6 thousandths. and you're just going to write 6 in there, 6 thousandths. So I've done that first one for you. You need to complete the rest, and then you're going to say which is the smallest, then the next biggest, and then the next biggest, because look, we've got this symbol here, and we know that this is smaller than this. The crocodile eats the bigger number. So that's what you've got to do for A and B. And then for 2 and 3, careful, because this changes. So this is ascending order, like you've done in guided practice, and this is descending order. So this is getting smaller, greatest to smallest. Look, so you've got to be careful when it gives you those instructions. Extensions today, I would expect lots of you to be moving on to your extensions today, because I think that guided practice is really short. Some of you won't, I know that, but I think quite a lot of you should be able to move on to the extension. It will take a little bit of brain power to go through these, but basically you need to show us, this is concrete. So when we say concrete, we're talking about things that we can actually handle. Now, unfortunately, you can't actually handle them at home, but you might have things that you can use instead. Maybe you're lucky enough to have some Skittles or some Smarties or something. You can make the red ones into ones, and you can make the yellows into tenths, and so on, just like they have here. If not, though, hopefully you can carry on using it, thinking about what it shows you in the picture there. So you need to fill in the blanks here. So you need to show us how many of the counters would go in there. This one here, you've got to do the same as we've done at the top here, expanded form. So break it up into what parts is it made from. Okay, and we want to know in words, and the fraction as well. We're doing lots of links between decimals and fractions. That's really, really important. If you move on to it, there's another one for you to have a go at here. So it's similar in that you need to use the information that you've been given. So you know here, the number is here. This one, it could be actually different combinations. So don't get stuck on thinking, oh, I don't know what it is. It could be different combinations of that number. So this is our part whole model that we've used before. So don't get worried about one particular answer. You choose what you think your answer is going to be, okay? And then you fill in those. And then maths teasers, you've got the next couple of questions from your maths teasers book today. So have a go at working on this one, and then if you've got time, you can have a go at question 6 as well. So see how you get on. I'm looking forward to seeing what you do on Tapestry, and we will be carrying on with our decimals next week. So don't panic, this is not all, but I think you're doing really, really well. We're really, really proud of you and how well you're doing. So keep it up. And remember, it's nearly the weekend. So you do this, get the rest of your work done, and then you can chill, hopefully, for the weekend. So good luck today, guys, and we'll see you again next week.